Hi, welcome everyone to Pop Cult X, episode 93, with your hosts, Danny and Gabriel, as always, talking about pop culture news from a Gen X point of view. This week, we're talking about all things halftime show at the Super Bowl, new trailers and movies and music that we got into this week. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about what everyone is talking about on social media right now, which is the Super Bowl halftime show featuring Rihanna. So kind of controversial, I think, from my perspective. This is the first time we've ever seen a pregnant woman perform a halftime show, right?
As far as I know.
I thought you were the expert at pregnant women performing on that stereotype. So for those that didn't watch it or don't know, Rihanna did announce post halftime show that she is pregnant. A lot of her fans are really excited because she sort of, rubbed her belly and highlighted the fact that she was pregnant during the performance.
Oh, okay. So she didn't announce it. I thought that was her announcement when she was rubbing her belly. I was like, look, here I am.
It was. Prior to that, she had hinted, I am thinking about a special guest joining me, her baby being the special guest.
Got it.
So knowing that she's pregnant, I think explains a lot about the performance. It wasn't necessarily the most high energy performance that I've seen at the Super Bowl. Her choreography was maybe a little half of what she would normally do, I would say.
Subdued, yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely subdued. She didn't move that much. The stage was really cool. They did like multiple layers of stage that floated and moved and drones and all kinds of technology, which gave me nerves because once I realized that she was pregnant, I thought, what the hell is she doing in the air? Is she strapped in? I think one last shot, you can see the platform like kind of dip as she was, which just kind of gave me some chills because I'm scared of heights. And but other than that, she had a really good set list. She sang most of her hits. I'll kind of go over that real quickly. So she started with Bitch Better Have My Money. Then she had Where Have You Been? Only Girl in the World, We Found Love, which is my favorite. Rude Boy, Work, Wild Thoughts, Pour It Up, All of the Lights, Run This Town, Umbrella, my second favorite, and then Diamond. So if you're a Rihanna fan, you definitely got the hits. Like she brought out her favorite songs or our favorite songs. The choreography was really cool. I thought the background dancers did a great job. One of the things that people are really celebrating her is that she sort of stopped mid-performance, had someone hand her a compact, which is her makeup line. She kind of touched herself up and gave the makeup back. So it was like a shout out to her success within the makeup industry because she's sort of famously retired from the music scene for some time to build her
Fenty, right?
Yeah, it's Savage Fenty makeup, I think. Makeup, clothes, all of that stuff. It's become a multi-billion-dollar industry for her, and she's one of the richest women in the world now because of it. So kind of throwing herself a little shout out with that. I was surprised that there weren't any guests. This is the first time that in a halftime show we haven't seen them bring out the other big stars. Possible collaborators that could have come out were Eminem. She did a song with him. T.I., Drake. There's a lot of people that she's done songs with. So Calvin Harris. There's a lot of people that could have come out, but she sort of really iconically, I kind of just said, like, I'm enough. Like, I'm going to do this on my own, which is kind of a badass move. I don't know if it necessarily worked for everyone. I did an unofficial poll on my Instagram, and I took a picture of it to save it for prosperity for this very instant to show what people's thoughts were. So my question was, was it a hot performance or not? And what people said were it was kind of 50-50. So half of the people that were polled said they liked it. Half of the people polled said it was not the greatest performance. I would say that it was kind of middle of the road. It's not my favorite performance. It's not going to go down as the worst performance. So it was sort of middle of the road for me. What about you?
Well, Gabe, let me tell you. Well, I'll start it off with I've never seen a Rihanna performance beforehand. So I had nothing really to base it on. Was she compared to like her past performances? I mean, I know who she was, I know her songs, of course, but I haven't really focused on what her performances were, live performances, that is. But watching it, like you, right from the very first shot when she's like 150 feet dangling over the football field,
Yeah.
suspended on a, what is it, probably like a 10 by 6 platform with 4 wires. I was just like, oh my gosh, is she crazy? And then to find out that she was pregnant and doing this, it was like, holy cow.
Yeah.
So more props to her for doing that. I mean, I know Lady Gaga did the famous one. She came in through the ceiling, which was really cool too. But this was just like, wow, she's really doing that.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, it had my attention. I know that her choreography wasn't as, I guess, as dynamic as it had been. But I guess that's, of course, to her being pregnant. But I didn't mind it. Her vocals were good. The cinematography for us viewers was absolutely fantastic. So shout out to the directors and the kudos to those camera operators, the drone operators who got those shots, because the lines they produced, the angles they produced, I was just blown away by that. Now,
Yeah.
and then the dancers, like you said, they were great. I mean, I like the fact that it was almost androgynous in a way, because they all had the big white puffer coats on, so you couldn't really tell who was male or female until it was just all a person. And I thought that was really cool. I really enjoyed the dancing. I really enjoyed that performance. My favorite was her very last song, Diamond,
Mhm.
and especially because the way they panned out and they showed her, and she was really shining like a diamond.
Mhm.
So I thought that was really cool.
Like a blood red diamond.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you want to call it that, sure.
Yeah,
She
and
was
I
really
think that
standing
that's
out.
on trend, right? Because we've seen a lot of performers dressed in all red and
Yeah, it's Sam
kind of,
Smith, right? Yeah.
yeah, religious, people saying that, that's not, red is evil somehow, which I don't get, because I think that if the devil showed up dressed in all red, I would sort of laugh. Like I mean, I think that it would be kind of cheesy. That's just me. But did you actually watch the game, or were you like me and only watched the halftime show?
I just watched the halftime show. I didn't even watch any of the commercials this year. Normally, I'll tune in just to see some of the commercials, but I don't know.
Same.
Just this year really didn't really, they didn't do a good job, I guess, NFL, to draw me in. Us non-sports watchers or non-NFL watchers, they
Yeah.
didn't do enough to really draw me in. Although I will say I did watch one commercial, and I saw it post afterwards, and it was the Hellman's mayonnaise commercial with
Mhm.
John Hamm and Brie Larson. They're stuck in
Yeah.
a fridge, and then Pete Davidson opens up. He's like, "I'm gonna eat you guys," or whatever. So I
Yeah.
thought that was like
I was
strange.
impressed that I don't know if she's training for the sequel to Captain Marvel, or they actually are filming it right now, I think. The Marvels. She looks
Hmm.
amazing. You can really
Yeah.
tell she's super fit right now. She looks great. So I'm really excited for that. Another commercial that I saw, or the one that stood out, was a trailer for The Flash, which is coming
Ooh, yes. Let's
out.
talk about that.
I was at work when I actually saw it. I didn't see it live. And I saw bits and pieces of it, and I missed something really big that you'll bring up. But so can you go ahead and tell our watchers or
Well,
listeners what the deal is with the new Flash?
when we were talking about this episode, I wanted to call it Super, or something like James Gunn's Super Extraordinary Awesomely Good Day, because he released trailers for The Flash and, of course, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So good job, James. We're in your corner. But it looked really good. I mean, all the controversy aside with Ezra Miller, I think the rest of the cast makes up for it. I mean, we get the whole multiverse type of thing with the different Batmans. Of course, with well, I don't know if it's your favorite, but one of my favorite, the Michael Keaton Batman. And he does his iconic line, of course, in the trailer, which I don't know if I'm mad that they showed it in the trailer.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to wait for that in the movie, because I think in the film itself, it would have been a better reveal, you know?
Yeah, like
So
the audience would have like just lost it.
exactly, yeah. But now we kind of know it. Or is it going to be one of those things that it's something that's in the trailer but doesn't make it into the final film, and that's
Right.
why they showed it now?
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I mean, there's that. Then also they showed a new Kryptonian, I guess, and that is, I don't even know her name because I'm not a big DC person, but
Yeah.
it's Supergirl.
Mhm.
who is played by, oh goodness, I can't forget, don't remember the actress's name. One second, I have it right here. Should have been more prepared. Sasha Kale or Kali, I guess, or Kaye. Anyway, she's Calle, so Kaye, right?
Yeah.
I guess she's a Latina playing Supergirl. So I when I saw that, I was like, oh, Gabe's gonna like that. So kudos to that. I think it looked fantastic. The trailer, the movie looks really good, and I can see why James Gunn called it one of the best superhero films he's ever seen.
Hmm. That's a really tall order. So I
Yeah.
don't know of how much of that is hype. I'm excited. I am gonna, regardless of Ezra's past or what they've done or what they're accused of, I'm not gonna let their life and their crimes or their whatever ruin it for the rest of the cast and the rest
Hmm.
of the people involved. And I think that's what people have to remember is that they're not the only one that participated in the film, and it
Right.
would be unfair to everyone else because they're an asshole. Um, so I'm going to go see it. I didn't get a chance to see the Guardians of the Galaxy, but there is a controversy that I saw today, and I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Mm.
Nia Long was interviewed in Variety magazine talking about how she wasn't considered for the role in Avatar that Zoe Saldana was, and that she isn't being considered for a lot of big roles. A lot of people who have responded to this have said, well, of course not. You're not a big enough actress. You're not competing with Zoe Saldana. So what I was curious is, for me, I can say that it put a bad taste in my mouth. It kind of sounds kind of whiny and complainy, and it's coming from like a C-list celebrity who really is, if I'm honest, is trying to compare herself to an A-list actress. Do you get that feeling too, or do you think that she's like what they say, shooting her shot, like trying to get the attention of directors out there to put her in a big blockbuster like Guardians of the Galaxy or etc. Because I don't see her that way, but maybe other people do. What are your thoughts?
Well, I hadn't heard about this, so this is you telling me for the first time. I mean, Nia Long. When I think of Nia, I think of. I'm looking at her IMDb, trying to remember what I've seen her in. I know I've seen her in like
Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood. She was in like ooh,
We just reviewed You
Big Mama's
People.
House. You People, right? That's right. She did the voice in the Cleveland show. So I mean, yeah, it could be just her, voicing her wanting to do more. I mean, maybe wanting to like you said, take her shot. And
Yeah.
who knows? I don't know. I mean, I guess
Do you think
I
it'll work?
no. If she hasn't been cast yet, maybe there's a reason for it. I don't really know. I mean,
Yeah,
she's a decent enough actress. She has like 70 titles under her belt. So it's
right.
not like she's not getting any work. So it's maybe switch your agent, Nia. I don't know.
That's literally what someone said is you need a new agent.
Right. Maybe find someone who's going to promote you for those roles and
Mhm.
push you into the purview of those directors or those creators who are making those movies that you want to make. So if you really
Yeah.
want to make a superhero film, find someone who take you there.
Yeah, it sort of reminds me, I don't know if you remember back in the day, Sean Young was cast as Catwoman for Batman and she got injured and they replaced her with Michelle Pfeiffer famously.
Okay.
And she went on this whole campaign saying she's the real Catwoman.
Oh,
She went on the Joan Rivers show dressed up as Catwoman. And it pretty much kind of like ruined her career because it made her look like she was loony. And
Yeah.
I'm curious if Nia is going to shoot herself in the foot by going on these rants talking about, I should be up for these big roles. And, maybe you let your performance speak for itself and, maybe make some independent movies where you really shine or some action movies where you really shine and then you'll be up for them. But she's like a little bit longer in the tooth than Zoe Saldana as well. And so like,
Hmm.
it's really apples and oranges. It's kind of weird that she compared
Yeah.
herself
Yeah.
to Zoe because Zoe was in, Colombiana. She was in
Hmm.
a lot of other films that sort of casted her as a like action female star. And then she got, Guardians of the Galaxy, and then she also got Avatar. So It's kind of a weird thing for me that I read that, and
It is a little weird. Yeah, I
it
agree.
could be spin. It could be that Variety is kind of misquoting her and making her seem like, ungrateful or whatever. That wouldn't be far fetched, but it sort of like seems like people who complain about not getting recognized by the Grammys. Well,
Mm.
maybe your record wasn't that great. Like it always kind of it feels entitled. It feels like you think that you're maybe better than what other people view you as.
Yeah.
And
There's
don't
nothing
make
wrong with that, though. By the way, there's nothing
yeah.
wrong with having a. I mean, in that industry, in the Hollywood, you have to have an ego of some sort.
Yeah, but I mean also is from the fandom, like don't cry for me Argentina, like don't make
Yeah.
me feel bad for you, Nia, that you've had a 30, 40-year career in films and you're mad that you haven't gotten an Avengers type role.
Yeah, I
But,
got you. I got you.
yeah.
Well, since you spoke about Zoe Saldana, I just saw that she's congrats to her. She was in like the three of the highest grossing films ever.
Yeah.
That's maybe it's just all her. Maybe she's the one bringing all that money in. I don't know. That's just
Yeah.
crazy though.
Yeah, she needs to get definitely a bigger paycheck because you see a
Hmm.
lot of assholes getting big paychecks that don't deserve it.
Yeah, that's true.
And but because they have good agents, they're raking in the money and they get these film deals, and you see a lot of women get the short end of the stick, and it's like not really fair because they're bringing
Yeah,
in people for sure.
yeah, definitely. I agree.
Yeah. So outside of the Flash trailer, anything else that has been keeping you captivated on the small screen or big screen?
Okay, I did start a new series on that's on Stars. It came out in last year in 2022 called Shining Veil. Not sure if you've heard of that.
I
It's with
haven't.
Courtney Cox, Greg Kinnear, Mira Sorvino, and a whole cast of other people.
Right.
It's really fun. It's in the horror comedy genre, and it's basically the Courtney Cox's character is a writer who starts seeing ghosts
Wow.
and whatnot, or a ghost in this new house that they moved into, and it had elements. It reminded me of like The Shining. It had thoughts of like that. It reminded me of like Amityville Horror type of that type of vibe to it. And of
Yeah.
course, it had comedy bits to it, so it was really good. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. Go watch it. I think a new season starts beginning of March. So
Oh, Nick,
go.
that's what I was going to ask you if it's an ongoing series or if it's done.
Yeah, well, the first season I think is out there. I think there's like 10 episodes, and then the second season I think starts on March.
Nice.
So
So
yeah,
I've been
that's
watching. I don't know if we've talked about it here, but The Last of Us on HBO. Have you watched that?
I watched through episode 3.
Nice.
Yeah.
Through the end of episode 3, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Episode 3 is sort of the flashiest one, right? That's the one that's kind of gotten everyone's attention because it has
It's yeah,
uh
it's the most dramatic one I would say. Yeah.
yeah, and it's got Nick, is it Offerman? Or
Hmm.
yeah, he plays sort of like a Trump survivalist, um I don't know what you would call this, survivalist, and
Yeah, survivalist is right. Yeah.
he finds his partner randomly, and it tells the story of their life living in this new dystopian society, and it's kind of heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, but it goes along with the theme of this whole show, right? This is not a happy-go-lucky show, The Last of Us. For those
Right.
that haven't started watching it, it's about a fungus that takes control of people's minds, sort of in a
Hmm.
zombie-ish way, and feeds
Hmm.
other hosts. And it's sort of a new take on zombies. I don't know if you would call them zombies or if they're some sort of new type of monster, like plant zombie.
Yeah.
Definitely enough to scare me as a person who's fearful of zombies. And it's kind of creative, the way that they communicate through the earth, like they can root into the
Hmm.
earth and communicate to other
Yeah.
monsters and let them know, like, hey, food's over here. So really creative, really scary, really great acting. Pedro Pascal is amazing in it.
Oh yeah.
um the young girl that they play
Bella
is,
Ramsey is great too. Yeah.
yeah, a great cast all the way around. Really great show. I've been watching, I think I'm on the fourth or fifth episode. Really great. And looking forward to see how it ends, or if it's going to be like a spin off or a one season type of a show.
I
But really
think they're
good.
talking about season 2 already.
Wow.
So I haven't gotten. I think episode 5. I don't know if that's the final. I know
Mhm.
they released it early because they didn't want to compete with the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
so they released it early. I have to catch up with those two. But episode 3, like you said, it really is a heart moving episode that especially if you look at even in a dystopian post apocalyptic environment, you can still find your purpose.
Right.
You can still find the one that you love, and that's what Nick Offerman did, and that's why he found his purpose and who he was there to take care of. So I thought that was really cool, especially considering my personal background. I felt a real connection with Nick Offerman's character and how he took care of his partner, especially towards the end. So I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the whole cast, the whole vibe of the show. It's really great. It makes me want to go play the video game again. I've only played the first bit of it, so I got to play it again.
I'm curious, do the monsters look the same as they do in the video game?
Some of them, yeah. So the
Yeah.
clickers, that's what you saw in episode 2 when they were going through the museum, where they basically use sound to find their enemies
Yeah.
there. Yeah, those are a pain in the video game.
Yeah.
Really, they are.
Yeah.
And the first time I played it, you build the atmosphere, you turn the lights out, you're there playing it, and like you go in through this. It wasn't a museum, but it was like I don't know if you remember the building that you saw that was like slanted over. So it's
Yeah.
like that. So you're walking through an office that's off kilter or whatnot, and
Oh,
then
nice.
those creatures are in there, and like you hear them clicking. So you got to be quiet. It's really cool.
Nice, nice. I'm not a fan of video games, otherwise I'd play it too, but um the show, it definitely is really I mean, it's really elevated from a video game.
Oh yeah.
It's really,
hmm
really great. So good
hmm
stuff on HBO with those cast and with the people involved in that show. Anything else that you've been watching or listening to?
I watched a movie called Megan. Speaking of
Oh yeah.
video games, yeah, it's another horror comedy. Call it a comedy in a way. It's really fun. It's like an updated version of like Chucky in a
Mhm.
way because it's a doll with AI features to it, right? And her like prime directive is to protect the person she's paired with, no matter what the cost is, right? So if you can
Yeah.
imagine what she does, I mean, it doesn't get too gory, but has a little elements of it, and it's exciting. It's really fun. It was a different take. I liked it. It was good.
It's so I haven't seen it yet, but the part where the doll's dancing is so cringy for me.
Yeah,
It just makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't know, like
it
it's
is.
so weird.
It was really weird
Yeah.
because you don't expect a robot doll to be able to move like that, right? You don't
Yeah,
expect them to be able
it's
to.
just weird. And then to see that for the promotion, they had girls out dressed like that doll, dancing that way.
Mhm.
It's just really cringy and weird. Um, but as a pop culture question, who do you think would win in a fight, Megan or Annabelle the doll?
Never seen Annabelle, so I'm not
Oh
sure.
wow.
But I think are Annabelle's powers supernatural?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're talking then, okay, you do believe in supernatural powers, or are you more of the robot AI tech powers, right? So my brain, I go to Megan and the AI robot because they're always constantly learning, constantly adjusting, see the behavior patterns that are before them and adjust to that. So that's who I would vote for. Like I said, never seen Annabelle, so maybe.
I would have to go with Annabelle because she could drag her to hell.
Even if wait, can she go to hell even if she doesn't have a soul?
I would get probably yes.
Hmm. We're gonna have
Because
to post that on our.
it actually would be a good like Freddy versus Jason because
Uh
Annabelle didn't have a soul. It's a doll, but it's possessed by a demon. So could one of the other
Okay.
demons possess Megan to make it like an ultimate demon because it's half demon, half robot?
Robot. I like it.
That would be a good fight. Did we just create like a franchise right
I
now?
think we did. We're gonna have to contact A24 or the Bloomhouse production. Say, hey, we got
Right?
this idea.
Yeah.
I'll put a poll on this episode. I think I can do that for people who are listening via Spotify and ask who will win in this fight, Annabelle or Megan. I'm curious
Yeah.
to see what people think.
And the winner goes on to fight Chucky.
The final boss. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also did watch. Now I don't know if this was an authorized biography or biopic, or sometimes they make unauthorized. I Want to Dance with Somebody, the Whitney Houston movie.
Oh yeah.
and it was good. I mean, Stanley Tucci as Clive Davis was really good. The actress who played Whitney Houston was great. Um, but my drawback to it is when I think biopics, you can go one of two ways, right? So you can go the full length of their life. So
Hmm.
from childhood to if when they pass away, if they're dead already, and you get that whole breath, but they're just like snippets of each moment. So they're not really diving in too deep. And that's kind of what this movie was for me. I
Hmm.
wanted to see more about certain events in her life. I think of like another biopic, like Being the Ricardos. It was focused on just 1 week in the
Yeah.
life of Lucy and Desi, right? So, and I kind of like that in a way, but also the drawback to that is, well, I want to know the rest of the story. What happened? I want to see before and after. So
Right.
it was okay. I mean, it wasn't the greatest, but I do love musician biopics. One of my favorite genre of films. So
Same. I think that the reason why I would be interested in watching one is to learn more about Whitney Houston because
yeah.
I don't think we really know much about her upbringing other than, famous mom, sing
Hmm.
in the choir at church.
Famous
But
aunt or cousin, I think.
yeah, yeah, famous cousin. Did she have a relationship with a woman? Was she
Right.
a crack addict? Did she overindulge in drugs? What was she like as a mother? Like, what was the married life between her and Bobby Brown? I mean, there's so much but I think they're so protective of her image as being this like
Hmm.
queen of pop music that they're afraid to show that, but like people know that she was a human being. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
and so that's I mean, sort of like Ray Charles. We saw him in his dark hours as a heroin addict, and we saw him overcome it. You know, Sadly, she didn't overcome it, but that's her life story. We
Right.
can't graze over that or try to pretend that that didn't happen. So I would be more interested in seeing more of her actual details of her life other
Well,
than just she was found. They found her, she became a big star and had a little bumps in the road or whatever.
But yeah, they did touch on the pieces that you spoke about, the relationship with the woman at the beginning, her friend Robin, I guess, and they talked about they did highlight or show that her drug addiction problem, and they hinted to her, or they did mention that she passed away because of it, a drug related drowning.
Hmm.
So they didn't gloss over those things. I just didn't get enough of those things.
Hmm.
Of course, I understand that it couldn't be a 4 hour, 5 hour long movie, so they had to trim it within a neat hour and 50 minutes or whatnot. But
Yeah.
I guess it just shows that I should go explore and learn more myself rather than rely on Hollywood to tell me what happened.
Yeah, but I mean, so where would you go to a book? Because that stuff is so protected by the
Yeah, that's true.
family.
Hmm.
It's hard to find. I actually just bought the autobiography of Rob Halford from Judas
Okay.
Priest
Hmm.
called Confess. I'm really excited to read that because it's in his own words, and I'm really excited to. He's a famous San Diegan. He lived here for some time, so I'm kind of interested to hear about the details of his life.
Yeah.
And that's not someone that we've really seen. We haven't really seen any rock biopics. We've
Well,
seen like jazz, Elvis, pop star,
country, Johnny
country.
Cash.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we need like
Yeah.
a heavy
Well,
rock.
I did see it. It was a Netflix. It's called The Dirt, I think. It's the Motley
Oh,
Crue
Motley Crue.
biopic.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was crazy. That movie was pretty crazy. I enjoyed it though. I mean, it was just, they were the epitome of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right? So
yeah.
yeah, they were
And
out
Queen,
there.
Queen. They did Queen as
Yeah,
well.
they did
Right?
Queen, yeah. So I mean, yeah, I really enjoy those. I hope more come out and
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm curious. Let's put this question out to our audience. What musician, live or dead, would you like a biopic of? Would it be Madonna, who's kind of working on her own? She's doing her own film. Would it be Judas Priest, which I brought up? Would it be Ozzy Osbourne? What musician or what bands would you really be interested in? Well, look at the answers and we'll discuss it next week on our new podcast.
Yeah, everyone. So get those answers in, submit them any of our social medias here on YouTube comments and our podcast comments. Find us on Twitter, Instagram. Go to our website, email us there. I don't care. Wherever. Find us. Let us know.
Nice. So with that, is there anything else that you have this week, Danny?
Um, No, although I will say I've been listening to a band called Television, which is started at CBGB back in the day. Their song Marquee Moon. I've just been. It's a 9-minute long song, but I've been playing it on repeat, and it's just awesome. I'm really
Have you
enjoying
seen
that.
the CBGB movie?
Yeah, it's really good. That made me buy the shirt.
Yeah.
I really like that movie. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the part of the movie at the end where the talking heads come out for their Hall of Fame introduction speech, and they bring out the owner of CBGB and give him a lot of credit. So I thought that was really cool.
Nice.
So yeah,
well,
that's about it.
I think that is this episode. So definitely hit us up with that little question of the week that I have for our listeners. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, recommend us, do all of that stuff. And then until next week, have a good week.
Bye, everyone.
Stay safe.